In the early morning hours of February 14th, 2013, four gunshots shatter the silence of an upscale Pretoria neighborhood. Behind a locked bathroom door, a young woman takes her final breath. The man holding the smoking gun is no ordinary suspect. He's Oscar Pistorius, the Blade Runner, Olympic hero, and global icon. The woman bleeding out on the bathroom floor is Reeva Steenkamp, his girlfriend of 3 months. She came to his house carrying a Valentine's Day gift. She would never leave alive. This is the story of how a fairy tale turned into a nightmare, and how the world watched as a hero fell from grace. Reeva Steenkamp is 29 years old, and she's everything society celebrates. She's a model who graced the pages of FHM magazine twice as one of the 100 sexiest women. But Reeva is more than just a beautiful face. She's a law school graduate with ambitions beyond the runway. She's passionate, articulate, an advocate for victims of rape and domestic abuse. She speaks at schools about these issues. She uses her platform for good. Those who know her describe a woman full of life, full of plans, full of hope. On the evening of February 13th, 2013, Reeva drives to Oscar Pistorius' estate in the secure Silverwoods country estate in Pretoria, South Africa. She's excited. It's almost Valentine's Day. She's brought a gift for Oscar, carefully wrapped and waiting to be presented. The couple has been dating for 3 months, still in that honeymoon phase where everything feels possible. To the outside world, they're a power couple. He's the Paralympic superstar. She's the rising model. Together, they're picture perfect. But something happens that night. Something that transforms a romantic evening into a crime scene. By 3:20 a.m. on Valentine's Day morning, Oscar Pistorius dials emergency services. His voice cracks with panic and desperation. The words tumble out in broken fragments. There's been a shooting. Reeva is hurt. He needs help. Now. When paramedics and police arrive at the estate at 3:42 a.m., they find Oscar Pistorius carrying Reeva's body down the stairs. He's covered in blood. He's sobbing uncontrollably. Reeva Steenkamp has been shot 3 times. Once in the hip, once in the arm, once in the head. The head wound is catastrophic. Despite the paramedics' efforts, there's nothing they can do. Reeva is pronounced dead at the scene. She's still wearing the clothes she arrived in. She never even changed for bed. Investigators would soon realize this was no ordinary domestic incident. This was something far more complex, far more controversial, and it would captivate the entire world. Detective Hilton Botha of the South African Police Service is the first investigative officer on the scene. What he encounters defies Oscar's initial explanation of a tragic accident. The bathroom door where Reeva died shows 4 bullet holes clustered in a specific pattern. Inside the small bathroom, forensic investigators document the horrific scene. Blood spatters the walls, the floor, the toilet. 3 of 4 bullets fired from Oscar's 9mm pistol found their target. The trajectory analysis tells a story. Reeva is standing when she's shot. The wound suggests she's facing the door, perhaps trying to protect herself. The fatal bullet enters her head, traveling downward through her brain. Death is nearly instantaneous, though not immediate. There are signs she suffered, even if only for moments. Detective Botha walks through Oscar's bedroom. The bed is unmade. 2 mobile phones lie on the bedside table, Oscar's and Reeva's. But in the bathroom with Reeva's body, investigators find her second phone. Why would she take a phone into the bathroom at 3 in the morning? The answer seems obvious to investigators. She's hiding. She's locked herself in the only room with a door that closes, and she's taken a phone to call for help. Oscar Pistorius is 26 years old, and until this moment, he's been South Africa's golden boy. Born without fibulas in both legs, he's a double amputee below the knee since he's 11 months old. But Oscar refuses to let disability define him. He becomes an athlete, a runner, competing on carbon fiber prosthetic legs that earn him the nickname Blade Runner. In 2012, he makes history as the first double amputee to compete in the Olympic Games in London. He runs in both the Olympics and Paralympics. He's worth millions in endorsements. Nike, Oakley, BT, they all want him. He's inspiration incarnate. But those close to Oscar know another side. Friends describe a man with a volatile temper. There are incidents. In 2009, He spends a night in jail after allegedly assaulting a woman at a party, though charges are later dropped. He's reckless with firearms. He's fired a gun out of a car sunroof. He's accidentally discharged a weapon in a restaurant. His fascination with guns borders on obsession. He keeps a 9mm pistol under his bed, loaded, ready. When detectives question Oscar at the scene, his story is simple. He thought Reeva was an intruder. He was protecting his home. But even in those first hours, investigators see the cracks in his narrative. Oscar Pistorius tells investigators he woke around 3:20 a.m. to close the balcony doors. He heard a noise from the bathroom. He assumed Reeva was still asleep in bed beside him. He grabbed his gun from under the bed without putting on his prosthetic legs. He whispered to Reeva to call the police. He heard what he describes as wood moving in the bathroom. Terrified, believing an intruder is climbing through the window, he fired 4 shots through the locked bathroom door. Detective Botha listens to this account and immediately identifies problems. First, the bathroom window is 15 feet off the ground. There's no ladder, no evidence of attempted entry. The window is too small for an adult to climb through, even if they could reach it. Second, if Oscar whispered to Reeva to call police, why didn't he notice she wasn't in bed? The room isn't that large. Third, and most damning, the ballistics evidence contradicts Oscar's story. Oscar claims he's on his stumps when he fires, making him approximately 5 feet tall without his prosthetic legs. But the bullet trajectories show the shots are fired by someone standing at full height. The prosecution would later commission their own ballistics report, showing the shooter is wearing prosthetics when he pulls the trigger. Oscar's lying. Neighbors provide statements that shatter Oscar's version of events even further. At least 4 residents of the Silverwoods estate hear a woman screaming in the early morning hours. The screams are blood-curdling, terrified. They're followed by gunshots, then silence. One neighbor, Michelle Berger, is adamant. She hears a woman screaming 3 times. She hears a man shouting, then gunshots. The screaming stops after the shots. Her testimony is consistent with Reeva screaming as Oscar fired. Oscar's defense team insists the screaming is Oscar's voice, high-pitched in panic. But the neighbors are certain. They know the difference between a man and a woman screaming. Some of them wake their own spouses to verify what they're hearing. Then there's the cricket bat. Oscar claims he used the bat to break down the bathroom door after realizing Reeva was inside. But forensic analysis of the bat shows defensive wounds consistent with someone using it as a weapon or shield during a confrontation. Some experts theorize Oscar hit the bathroom door with the bat before the shooting, terrifying Reeva as she hid inside. Cell phone records reveal another troubling detail. In January 2013, just weeks before the shooting, Oscar and Reeva had a significant argument about Reeva talking to another man. Oscar is possessive, jealous. Friends of Reeva later reveal she's contemplating ending the relationship. She finds Oscar's jealousy suffocating. On the night of February 13th, witnesses report Oscar seeming agitated at dinner. The forensic evidence paints a damning picture. Reeva's stomach contents reveal she ate approximately 2 hours before her death. This contradicts Oscar's claim that they were both asleep until 3:20 a.m. She's awake, she's eaten, she's fully dressed in the clothes she arrived in, including her underwear. Nothing about the scene suggests a woman who settled in for the night with her boyfriend. The police analyze Reeva's phone found in the bathroom. There are no outgoing calls or messages from that night, but the phone's presence is telling. The bathroom itself is tiny, roughly 4 feet by 5 feet. There's no escape. When Oscar fires through that door, he's shooting into a confined space where he knows someone is trapped. Even if he truly believed an intruder was inside, the act of firing 4 shots into a small bathroom where a person is cornered speaks to intent. Ballistics experts testify to the sequence of shots. The first bullet strikes Reeva in the hip as she stands facing the door. The impact likely causes her to fall toward the toilet. The second shot hits her arm. The third misses, ricocheting off surfaces. The fourth enters her head, angling downward. She's falling or already down when this shot kills her. Oscar's 9mm pistol is loaded with black talon bullets, a type of hollow point ammunition designed to expand on impact, causing maximum damage. These aren't standard home defense rounds. They're meant to kill. Detective Botha discovers testosterone and needles in Oscar's bedroom. The defense explains these are legal herbal supplements, but their presence raises questions about Oscar's state of mind and potential steroid use affecting his temperament. The estate's security records show no security breaches that night, no alarms triggered, no reports of suspicious activity. The secure estate has 24-hour security and high walls. The idea that Oscar's house was being burgled is implausible from the start. Oscar Pistorius is arrested on the morning of February 14th, 2013. He's charged with murder. The bail hearing becomes a sensation. The prosecution argues Oscar is a flight risk with means and international connections. They request he be denied bail. The defense portrays him as a devastated man who made a tragic mistake. On February 22, 2013, Oscar is granted bail of 1 million rand, approximately $113,000. He's ordered to surrender his passports and report to authorities regularly. He moves in with his uncle. He's stripped of his endorsements. Nike suspends their contract. Oakley drops him. The man who was once inspiration becomes a pariah. The trial begins on March 3, 2014. It's broadcast live across South Africa and internationally. The world watches as Oscar enters the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria. Judge Thokozile Masipa presides. The verdict rests solely with Judge Masipa and 2 assessors. Prosecutor Gary Nell is relentless. He's known as the pit bull for his aggressive cross-examination style. He argues Oscar and Reeva had a heated argument that night. Reeva fled to the bathroom and locked herself in. Oscar, in a jealous rage, fired through the door, intending to kill her. The prosecution presents a timeline. Neighbors heard arguing around 2 a.m. The shots came after 3 a.m. Plenty of time for an argument to escalate. The defense, led by Barry Rue, maintains Oscar's story. He thought Reeva was in bed. He believed an intruder was in the bathroom. He fired in fear. Yes, he should have verified Reeva's location. Yes, he made catastrophic errors in judgment, but he didn't intend to kill Reeva. He loved her. Oscar takes the stand in April 2014. His testimony spans 5 days. He's emotional, breaking down repeatedly. At one point, seeing crime scene photos of Reeva's injuries, he vomits. He removes his prosthetic legs in court to demonstrate his vulnerability without them, an attempt to show how fearful he was that night. Prosecutor Nell attacks every aspect of Oscar's testimony. He highlights the inconsistencies. Oscar claims he fired without thinking, yet he fired 4 separate times. That requires 4 separate decisions to pull the trigger. Nell presses Oscar about why he never called out to Reeva after hearing the noise. Why assume an intruder before checking on his girlfriend? The most devastating moment comes when Nell reads WhatsApp messages between Oscar and Reeva. In one exchange from January 27, 2013, just weeks before her death, Reeva writes, "I'm scared of you sometimes and how you snap at me." The message reveals the relationship isn't the fairy tale presented to the public. There's tension, there's fear. The complete picture emerges through weeks of testimony. Oscar and Reeva's relationship is intense but troubled. They're together only 3 months, but already there are fights about jealousy. Oscar is controlling. Reeva's friends later reveal she's considering ending things. She feels Oscar is too possessive. On February 13, 2013, they spend the evening at Oscar's home. They're supposed to be celebrating Valentine's Day early, but something goes wrong. Whether they argue about another man, about their relationship, or about something else entirely, the truth dies with Reeva. What seems clear from the evidence is that at some point in the early morning hours, Reeva retreats to the bathroom. She's fully dressed. She takes her phone. She locks the door. These aren't the actions of someone using the bathroom. Oscar approaches the bathroom door. Perhaps he's angry. Perhaps he's trying to force Reeva to come out. Perhaps he strikes the door with the cricket bat, terrifying Reeva further. Neighbors hear a woman screaming. They hear a man shouting. Then Oscar fires his gun 4 times, through a locked door, into a tiny bathroom where he knows a person is trapped. The first shot hits Reeva in the hip. She screams. Neighbors 4 houses away hear her. Oscar fires again, hitting her arm. She's falling now, collapsing toward the toilet. Oscar fires a 3rd time, missing. Then a 4th shot. This one strikes Reeva's head, ending her life. After the shots, Oscar uses the cricket bat to break down the door. He claims he realizes in that moment that Reeva isn't in bed. He finds her crumpled on the bathroom floor, bleeding. He carries her downstairs, trying desperately to save her. But it's too late. The damage is done. On September 12, 2014, Judge Thokozile Masipa delivers her verdict. She finds Oscar Pistorius not guilty of murder. The courtroom erupts. Reeva's family sits stunned. The judge explains that the prosecution failed to prove Oscar intended to kill Reeva specifically. However, she finds him guilty of culpable homicide, similar to manslaughter. She criticizes his negligence, his recklessness with firearms, his failure to verify who was in the bathroom before firing. On October 21, 2014, Oscar is sentenced to 5 years in prison. The sentence is widely criticized as too lenient. 5 years for taking a life. Reeva's parents, Barry and June Steenkamp, are devastated. This isn't justice. This is a slap on the wrist. But the case isn't over. The prosecution appeals, arguing the judge made errors in law. In December 2015, South Africa's Supreme Court of Appeal overturns the culpable homicide conviction and finds Oscar guilty of murder. The court rules that even if Oscar didn't know it was Reeva behind the door, he intended to kill whoever was in that bathroom. Under South African law, that's murder. In July 2016, Oscar is sentenced to 6 years in prison for murder. Judge Masipa, again presiding, describes him as a fallen hero and cites mitigating factors, including his disability and remorse. But once again, the sentence sparks outrage. The minimum sentence for murder in South Africa is 15 years. The prosecution appeals again. In November 2017, the Supreme Court increases Oscar's sentence to 13 years and 5 months. The court finds Judge Masipa's sentence shockingly lenient and not in line with South African law. Finally, many feel justice is approaching something resembling appropriate. Oscar serves his sentence at the Atteridgeville Correctional Center in Pretoria. He's initially in a hospital wing due to his disability, but later moves to the general prison population. He becomes eligible for parole in 2023 after serving half his sentence. On January 5, 2024, Oscar Pistorius is released on parole. He's 37 years old. He served approximately 9 years combined, including time under house arrest. His parole conditions are strict. He cannot leave his home during certain hours. He's prohibited from consuming alcohol. He must attend programs on anger management and violence against women. He must perform community service. He cannot speak to the media. He remains under parole supervision until December 2029. Reeva Steenkamp was 29 years old when Oscar Pistorius killed her. She had her whole life ahead of her. She was building a career, advocating for abuse victims, planning her future. She brought a Valentine's Day gift to Oscar's house that night. She never got to give it to him. June Steenkamp, Reeva's mother, said it best after Oscar's release. Has there been justice for Reeva? There can never be justice if your loved one is never coming back. No prison sentence returns Reeva to her family. No parole conditions erase what Oscar took from them that Valentine's Day morning. The case captivated the world because it shattered the image of a hero. Oscar Pistorius was supposed to represent triumph over adversity. Instead, he represents something far darker: how quickly adoration can turn to horror, how fame means nothing when measured against a human life, and how justice, even when served, can never truly balance the scales. If you found this case as compelling as we did, please like and subscribe to help us keep sharing these stories of justice. And remember, the truth always comes out in the end.